Hey guys, this is Tony and we're back on the bench. And this evening we're going to be doing another speed service on another little ultralight reel. So this is a beauty. This is a Shakespeare Sigma 2200GX. All right, this is an ultralight reel. It's in great condition. I don't think this was really fished that much. Recently previewed this reel with some others, and we're trying to get into trout season here, starting off. But this came with an original box and original documentation and stuff like that, spare spool. And so we're going to take this reel apart here, and we're going to see what this reel is about, and try to get it serviced and ready to go do some fishing. Okay, so we're going to start with taking this handle off, backing that out. That's easy. And we're going to take our spool off. We got a drag stack waiting for us in there. We'll take that out in a little bit. Looks like we got our ratchet wheel and a couple of spacer washers. You want to make note of the orientation of those parts when you go to take these things apart. We've got 3 screws in these usual positions here. We're going to take those out one by one. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of these speed services, as I call them, lately, where I try to get everything done in one video. But a lot of the cleaning I just do off video to help save time, and then I'll just talk about the steps that I take in the cleaning and whatnot, which mainly consists of just using penetrating oil and cleaning up the parts with some basic things like household toothbrushes and Q-tips and things of that sort. So nothing really fancy going on there. Okay, so we're going to take off our side plate. There's a plastic bushing in there. We're just going to clean this up actually as we go. There's really not too much to do here other than some cleaning. Like I said, this reel's in phenomenal shape. Might be a little on the dry side here. We're going to find out here. So this is a cam design. All right, that's a nice design. A lot of Shimano's have this similar setup. All right, and then we've got a washer here that rides under that cam. And you just want to make sure that you clean off any of this old grease and dirt and stuff that might be holding up in there. Okay, and it looks like it's 2 washers. Actually 3. Okay, so we're going to keep those together, and those go on top. All right, main gear comes out real easily. No problems there. We're just going to clean off all this old grease here the best that we can. Yeah, I'd say all the teeth on this are pretty well dried out from grease, but that's okay. We're going to repack it with fresh grease. Okay. And we're just going to clean this up here. Make that nice again. Okay. Then we're going to see what else is involved here. So we've got a pin here that pops out. Real simple. And then your drive shaft comes out. We're going to clean that up right now as well. 4/0 steel wool to this here. So yeah, in turn, we're doing a lot of the cleaning along the way here because simply this reel doesn't need a lot of cleaning. I mean, it does have some old residual grease buildup, but it's actually minimal, and there's really not that much going on. We got to get this off, though. I don't know what size that is. It could be a 10 mil. It kind of looks like it. I think it is, yeah. So yeah, if you got like a 10 mil socket or nut driver, you can take that off real easily with that. Okay. I'll put those off to the side for the moment. You want to make note of the orientation of these parts. This is a good area to take pictures if need be. Okay, but we want to be able to take these pieces out real simply. Okay, and get access to our ball bearing here, and also our pinion gear as well. And it would appear, at least I think, that, yeah, so we got two screws. These screws that have to come out that are holding this bearing in. So we're going to pop those out real quick. Just be careful when you're doing this. This, for instance, is a culprit here, taking this screw out. Difficult to do without taking this lever out here, okay? So, unfortunately, we have to do that as well, but that's okay, as long as we know where it goes back. And now we can get access to this other screw that holds the bearing in. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, bearing and gear, and we've got everything on the inside taken out, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to clean some of this up right now, and then we're going to go back in with everything piece by piece. Okay, so let's start here with the pinion gear. All right, I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of WD-40 penetrating oil here. Clean it with the toothbrush real simply, real easy to do. Okay, just going to have a quick look in here. There's a plastic bushing down there. You don't really need to take it out. You just want to clean it up. This reel, it's clean. So a little bit of Penn Precision blue grease going back on the pinion gear teeth here. Yeah, I'd actually say these Sigma reels are a little rare, I think, and I think they're somewhat of a collectible for some. I think Sigma is considered one of Shakespeare's better lines in their production over the years. All right, so we've got this bearing here, and it's got the seal on top, this rubber seal, but then it's exposed underneath here. Okay, so what we want to do is we just want to clean off any old grease or debris that's in there, but you can see the ball bearings are there, and they spin quite smoothly, actually. So we're going to go in with a little bit of real oil and flood those bearings. Okay. The downside to this is this faces downward, and so a lot of that oil will have a tendency to ooze downward. But there's a reason why you do regular maintenance on fishing reels, to make sure that all those pieces stay intact and working. So, and we're going to put this back in place and set that bearing down in position, flatten it out. And we're going to go back with those set screws. I'm just going to put a little bead of blue grease on my screwdriver tip here to help control those screws, hopefully. So yeah, sometimes, when you get into a fishing reel and it needs a lot of cleaning, then, that's when I'll spend more time in the cleaning, and I'll pause the video. And then other times I'll do separate videos of just the take apart and just the reassembly in separate videos. I like doing that a lot for a lot of reels, especially reels I haven't worked on typically. But for smaller reels like this that are pretty basic to work on, a lot of the time it can be achieved in just one session, basically. Okay. So now we want to go back in with our lever, starting here. Okay, and we got a set screw for that lever. Some of these screws can be very, very temperamental to deal with sometimes. Okay. Then we're going to go back with that ratchet wheel. This is part of the anti-reverse system. You want to make sure that that wire goes over the stud here. Got to make sure the pinion gear stays upright in this position while we do this. Okay, so now we're going to go back with our rotor once we've inspected all of this and make sure that we're ready to wrap it up. And we're just going to do a little bead of oil on these bail seams here. And just a little bit here, just for good measure. Place the rotor back in place, like so. Rotor nut on top, 10 millimeter. Don't need to over tighten this, but you just want it to be snug with a couple of light turns. Okay, so that's spinning real nicely. Now we're going to go back in. We've cleaned this off already. I'm going to take the blue grease to this main gear shaft, like so. Main drive shaft, I should say. And we're going to start that in. We've got this pin. A lot of the times this is in the form of a screw, but the pins are nice just because you don't have to worry about threads breaking. And we're just going to put a little bit of blue grease on this. And that just sets down here at the base, and that holds everything together. And then we've got our main gear set. A little bit of blue grease on these teeth. You don't have to get every one, but it'll work its way around eventually. Okay, we're going to slide that back in like so. And a little blue grease here on top. Go back with our cam. Sometimes you got to roll this around to get that to seat flush like that. Okay, and then back with the washers. Go on top. And we're just going to finish this off with a little bit of blue grease on top here. Three screws. Just going to do a little bead of oil on these screws here just for the fun of it. Even though they're going into a plastic or a graphite housing, it's a good practice. Help keep them free from rust. A lot of the time what happens with these reels is that you're working a bank or someplace on the shoreline and you get sand and dirt, on the outside of the reel. And what happens a lot of the time is that sand and dirt will work its way down into those threads, and then they hold moisture. And a lot of the time, the heads of the screw are more prone to it, of course, being on the outside, and those heads can cam out, they rust and they cam out real quickly when you go to turn them. I've had that happen a few times. So it's good to keep a little lube on them. Okay, so that's spinning real nicely. We're going to go back with that ratchet wheel and these spacer washers, or shims is probably the more appropriate term. Okay, and then we're going to move to our spool. And our drag stack. So we've got a spring. And then we can take our stack out. Once we got that spring out, this is probably a pretty basic stack, I would imagine. But you want to make note of the orientation of it and make sure it goes back in the reverse order that you took it out. There's quite a few little washers here, and they're all pretty clean. We're going to make them just a little bit cleaner than they are, but okay, so we've got a fabric washer. If these were dried out, I would put a little light bead of real oil on them, but these are very, very far from being dried out. Metal washer. So I'm just gonna dry them off gently, and because they're pretty soaked right now. Fabric washer and metal washer. And we'll go back with our snap ring. Looks like that. And we'll go back on with that. And put our top cap on. And we'll do just a little bead of oil right here. Just a little bit here on the threads for good measure. And we're going to spin this up. Anti-reverse is working good. Make sure our bail's firing good. It sure is. And we're going to make sure that drag is holding real nicely. Oh yeah, nice smooth drag. Back it off when you're done. So there you have it. That is the Shakespeare Sigma 2200GX ultralight spinning reel. All ready to go for some fishing. And thanks again for watching. This is Tony with Back on the Bench. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please make sure you do subscribe and hit the notification button. That way you will get all the updates as to when there are new videos being posted, and there will be quite a few more coming out shortly, so make sure you stay tuned for those, and we'll see you next time.